Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the mega donation video. If you haven't seen part 1, I suggest you go back and watch that. And if you have seen part 1, my apologies. It was very long and you know, quite a lot to take in. But then you came back, so you know, it's your own fault really. Anyway, we have still a number of items to go through. We were donated a lot of items to the museum. A lot of those items we already have, but it's been donated on the basis that we can test it and resell it to generate funds for the museum. So have a look on our eBay page on, well, eBay. You never know, you might grab yourself a bargain. So I have been going through lots of BBC Micros. This collection was made up majority of BBC Micro computers and BBC Master computers. And I've got one on the desk that I've been looking at, all tested out. It's all good. As you can see, we've got a little welcome back running on the screen there. So, you know, we have these now available on eBay. Go and take a look. But that's enough of the BBC Micros. We did quite a lot of that in part 1, if you want to go back and check that out. So I'm going to get rid of this one for the minute. Disconnect this. And take a look at something else in the pile. So one of those is this. This is an Amiga 600. So there you go. So that's the Amiga. Looks in quite nice condition. A little bit yellowed on the front there, on the keys, but the case itself doesn't look too bad. Needs a good clean up, but otherwise not too bad. There she is. We also have in here a BBC disk drive. That doesn't go with it, so we're going to put that over here. I should say I've been through quite a few of the disk drives in the collection, or in this donation I should say, and the vast majority don't work. Sadly, they've been stored outside in a garage shed, yeah, the disk drives don't tend to like that much. We also have in here a Sinclair, was that the SJ1 or something like that? Joystick, SJS1. So in part 1 you saw that we got a Spectrum Plus 2, and there actually was a box for this as well, so I'll reunite this with its box and the Spectrum Plus 2. So that can go over there for the moment. Then we have a strange jack cable. Done with that. Right, so this is the mouse for said 600. And this is the all-important power supply. The Commodore 600 power supplies were incredibly light. You would be forgiven to think there's nothing in there. But believe it or not, there is. Very, very much lighter than the Commodore 500 power supplies. So, let us have a look. Let's connect that in there. I have a monitor here that can take composite video, so we'll do that. Let's just plug our mouse in at the side there. Audio connected, power supply over there. Right, okay, so let's see what we get. We got a green light, power light is on. Oh, a bit bright and flicker. Oh, there you go. So that in the first part appears to work. Now the trouble is I haven't actually got any discs here, so we need the workbench disc to get this tested a bit further. I don't think we have any other discs here for it. Now in part 1 we did find some Amiga discs, no workbench discs, but we did find some game packages that were bundled with the Amiga, so I probably should have held them back, but I didn't. They're now at the museum. So that's probably about as far as we can go with that, but that's great. I mean, we've got a working Amiga there. For anybody that's a bit confused, the Cub monitor here is one of the later ones that has composite video in and sound as well. So therefore I can connect the Amiga to it over composite video. Really, really useful Cub monitors, those. If you can find one on eBay, they're worth picking up. So yeah, right, okay, well we have a Commodore A600 there, which is all working. Now again, we have these in the collection. We have really, really nice condition ones, boxed with all the stuff that goes with it, so this will be appearing on eBay once we've given it a bit of a better test and found out what exact condition it's in. But that's great. let's power that off. Okay, good stuff. Let's have a look at this thing here. Now, this is interesting. This is an IBM plotter. So this is quite different from most of the other stuff that's in this donation. This is an IBM Color Plotter. Over here it has a number of pens. It can take 6 pens in this little caddy here that spins round, and then the arm comes along and picks the pen that it needs. You put a piece of paper on the front here and it draws it in, and it's really quite interesting to see how it works, because you see the paper going backwards and forwards to do its plotting. It uses a serial port, so this has got a fairly heavy duty 9-pin D plug on the end that is used to connect it to pretty much anything. I mean, it just being serial, quite a lot of machines could control one of these, but you would actually need to know the language to make the plotter plot in the right way. This was before the days, you know, of drivers as such, so you would have programs specifically written to drive the IBM plotter. I think there's a number of them. I think there's BBC Micro software that can do it. I think there's lots of other ones as well. But anyway, so right at the back there, I don't know if you can actually see it. There's some dip switches here, which you would set up the baud rate and things like that, allowing you to match it with your host machine. So that's really interesting. Now, again, we do have one of these in the collection, but it might be that we actually just take this and put it on display. Maybe we can get it doing something. I'm not sure. The trouble with this kind of thing is that it does need consumables. So the pens that are in there are really hard to get now. They are these little tiny, let's just put that on there so hopefully you can see it, little tiny felt tip pens that go in to the holder. These have mostly all dried up now. They're very hard to get replacements. So having things on display at the museum is great to have interactives and things that are working, but some things are just a little bit too far beyond manageable because you can't get those consumables for them. They're also quite delicate, so you know, if somebody's messing with it while it's printing, it's going to mess up the print. So we'll see. It might be that we'll put this on eBay. It might be that we'll try and create a display out of it. So there you go. That's the IBM plotter. That'll make a great project for somebody to get going. Right, we have a whole box of bits and pieces here. Quite interesting stuff. So this has a D plug on one end and these 4 little sliders. I shall put it over here so you can see it. So you can adjust the sliders and you've got 2 buttons there. Now, if I remember rightly, I think in Micro User magazine there may have been some instructions on the bodybuilder kits, on the bodybuilder pages I should say, and basically it was a data entry device. This connected to the analog port on the BBC Micro, and you could control X, Y, Z and something else, and you had 2 buttons up the top here as enter buttons or whatever. So I've got a feeling that's what that is. I'm pretty sure, looking at that. But it's obviously homemade and, you know, not a bad job done with it. These, I remember, you could buy these little bezels that go around the sliders. You could buy from Maplin back in the day. Yeah, everything pretty much here as well. The box, the buttons, everything. So this is probably all source components from Maplin's from back in the day. So that's kind of interesting. I think there was some software written so you could create a kind of a CAD package where you control X, Y, and Z and things like that from it. Probably some audio stuff where you could control pitch or ADSR or something. Don't know, world's your oyster. You could read those analog inputs on your BBC Micro and do what you want with them if you knew how to program it. So let's put that over there. A BBC Master, well actually it would work on a BBC Micro as well, but this is a standard Acorn mouse. So this is an Acorn part number on it. 2 buttons, and yeah, made by Acorn. This one's pretty yellowed, has to be said. So that will go with one of the beeves, I'm sure. Now this is kind of interesting. I have a number of bits and pieces here. So this is STS. It is, I'm assuming, well, it's kind of pretty obvious. This is an I/O device, input-output device, connects to the user port of the BBC Micro, so that plugs into the user port there. You've got 8 outputs there and 8 inputs, and basically this would have been used probably in schools and labs and things like that to connect up your motors and sensors, switches, things like that to your BBC Micro, so you can write programs and control things. So the outputs here are relay isolated by the looks of it, because we've got normally open, common and normally closed. So there will be relays in there, so you're completely isolating it from the BBC Micro. These inputs, I'm guessing, are opto-isolated, so you've got complete isolation. So anything goes wrong outside of this, it doesn't blow up your BBC Micro. We've got a couple of these, 2 or 3. So this one's got what looks like it could be a voltage regulator or something strapped to it, so that doesn't look good. There you go, so there's the 3. So we don't have these in the collection. We have other similar ones, actually quite a lot smaller. So we'll probably put one of these in the collections to represent that particular type of unit, and the others we'll probably put on eBay. And then you can control your Lego motors and things like that. So that's those. So, a pair of, you would think, well, they were Atari paddles here, but actually these have been modified. They've got a switch at the bottom. I don't know why. You can see those there. So these switches have been put at the bottom. They've also been connected again to a BBC Micro analog port. So these are for the Beeb in some way, I'd imagine, but they've been modified. They were originally for the Atari 2600. So who knows what they were used for. Oh, look. I am very, very, very nostalgic for Maplin. You've probably already worked it all out. Yeah, my dad used to take me there. We went down to Southend, went to Westcliff where Maplins were based, and these were the kind of bags you got your things in. Just put that on the desk there. I know it's really nerdy, but that place basically made me who I am today. So it's not all good. This is Beeb MIDI. Okay, so it's got Beeb MIDI on the front there. You've got in and out. I don't know what that's about. You've got 2 holes there that say in and out. You've got a light there. Probably connects to the 1 megahertz bus port. Didn't see those. And you've got your MIDI input and output there. So I don't know what these are. Maybe they look like, well, they are LED bezels, but they've got no LEDs in them. So that's the same ones as over there. So yeah, it's a BBC MIDI interface. That's kind of cool. In a Maplin bag. I wouldn't mind betting this was based on Maplin Designs. They had their magazine, which gave you lots of different things you could build, and then obviously they stocked all the parts to build them. I wouldn't mind betting that's a standard interface as shown in the Maplin magazine. Brilliant, okay. I'm probably going to keep the bag personally. It's a bit naughty, but you know, it's a bag. I really need to get a life. Right, what else we got here? Standard, quick shot, joystick. Nice action on the buttons, nice and solid. Yeah, there you go. Standard, quick shot thing. This is a phono plug on the end of a coaxial lead. Don't want that. So, these are all PC. These are early PC multi-IO cards. So a bit dirty and dusty. So you had on these serial port, printer port. You had a secondary serial port there, IDE and floppy drive, and game port. So these are pretty useful in terms of getting old PC board's working again. All your I/O is on there. So these will probably, won't go into the collection as such, but they will go into our storage boxes for, you know, building PCs and whatever. We have in here, oh, so this is an original Amstrad mouse. I kind of like these. I used to have an Amstrad PC 1640. Well, I didn't. My company did that I worked for at the time. Yeah, this was the mouse for them. There you go. That's how it looks. This has had something etched into the top of it, which is a shame, really, because otherwise it's in really nice condition. Again, we have these in the museum. We've got sort of brand new and boxed ones, so yeah, have no specific need for that. Especially if it's been graffitied. Oh, just as I said graffitied, saw some software, Graffito, well, the manual for some software. This was software for the BBC Micro that allows you to do graphics and things, draw curves and whatever. Yeah, just the manual though. Pirate copy of Elite spaceship things. Yep, bit naughty. Dump out 3 ROM instructions, AMX mouse and AMXR instructions, Pineapple PCB software, Morley Electronics RAM disk, all sorts of malarkey there. Instructions for White Knight Mark II. I didn't know White Knight had instructions as such. Maybe it did. More mouse things from Watford Electronics, AMX mouse instructions, copies. So we will try and reunite these with their hardware if it's here. Go for the BBC Micro. So we'll try and reunite these with the various packages we've got, and if not, then we'll probably just do a job lot or something for somebody else to reunite. So this box is very BBC oriented, as you probably might guess. This is interesting. So this is a quick-shot joystick. Spectrum video, does it sound back there? Been modified to work on the analog port of the BBC Micro, and with the addition of a couple of resistors and things, you could make it so you could have digital control through the analog port of your BBC Micro, which made playing games, Galaxies things, that much easier. It's not so easy to play those with an analog joystick. So yeah, there's your Spectra Video joystick. So some good books in amongst this lot. We have a huge collection of books, so there is a very, very good chance we have already got all these. Advanced Basic ROM User Guide for the BBC Micro. That's on there. A copy of ViewSpell, won't be using that. The Advanced Disk User Guide for the BBC Micro. NLQ Designer. Graphics ROM, the Gxr Graphics Extension Rom. Pen Pal software. More Pirate Graphics ROM manuals, don't want that. Pirate WordWise Plus manual. Assembly language for the BBC Micro. Filing systems and databases for the BBC Micro. Teach Yourself Assembler 6502. I have to check that one out. I'm not sure we have got that one. But all the rest we've definitely got. We probably have, I don't know. So yeah, lots of BBC Micro manuals here. And more. Mastering the disk drive. How many instruction manuals do you need for Holdout? So yeah, lots of instruction manuals for Holdout. I'm guessing they're not quite as original as they should be. Aviator, not original. Speech User Guide. That's a good one. I think one of the BBC Micros may have had the speech ROMs in them. I don't know if that was one of these ones or something else I saw it in, but that's really useful. View Index. Some paperwork here using the Symphony keyboard. Yep, so that's using the Symphony keyboard for the Music 500 synthesizer. Dodgy copy of Elite manual. Printmaster. Anyway, you get the idea. PageMaker, speech instructions. Oh, this was the book that came with the BBC Micro that told you all the different software packages with these really cool and groovy pictures that they had representing people using the BBC Micro. Brilliant stuff. So I remember that one. A lot of fond memories. Right. White Knight, BBC, AMX, BBC Micro Expert Guide. Good stuff. So these will all go through and you'll probably see them on an eBay page near you soon. I'm covered in dust up here now, aren't I? Brilliant. So, BBC Micro guide there. Hershey characters, disc version. I know we have that. Word links, OCR, that's not for a beep, that's PC software. 32K RAM card, view guide, the PACE program, the computer program to make weight loss easy. I'll be checking that out later. It's got all this stuff. Nice on tape though. Yeah, we do already have that. That's amazing though. I love the artwork on the cover of that. Yeah, disc aid. So that's a box of books and things. I think we can move that one across now. I don't think there's much more in there. So this is another, we've got a few of these PCs here that basically we just wanted to take because it's not so much the machines themselves, but it's the cards that are in there. So let's have a look. This one probably comes off at the front, like that. And the question is which side will be this side. This is great. So I don't know if you can see this on the, so I don't know if you can see here, it's got a little speaker system built into the top. You could buy these as an upgrade for your PC. I love it. What I love about this so much is the fact that you can kind of angle it left or right. You know, and that's very, very important when you're dealing with audiophile systems such as this one, that you can angle the sound directly to you. And very, very important to be able to get the sound right in your face. I have no idea why they did that, but kind of cool in a cheesy, rubbish kind of way. Wonder what was in here. Let's take the side off. Yeah, we're quite interested in the various different cards that are in these things. Sometimes you find a gem of a card, maybe an original Ad-Lib card, or Sound Blaster, or a Voodoo 3 graphics card, or whatever. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. Let's put this down there. So, looks like fairly vanilla in this one. We've got a interface down there, a network interface down there. We do have probably a 3D graphics card here. I can tell that because it says 3D on the side. And a generic sound card in there. It's not Sound Blast or anything. A couple of hard drives, floppy drive. Yeah, and it looks like it's probably a Pentium. Could be a Pentium 2 or 3 maybe, I don't know. So we'll give this one a power up and see what we can find out about it. Sometimes it's interesting to see what kind of software is on these things as well. There you go. So it's a PC. We've got another few of these. There's 1, 2, 3. That's the fourth one to have a look through. So on this one, yeah, fairly standard, but you never know what you might find. Well, this one actually doesn't have a case. It's incredibly dusty. So that's speeded my job up slightly. So this one doesn't have a case on it, but it is fairly well packed out. Now it looks to me, down there that's a 486, It's got a fan on the processor there. Let's have a quick nose, because we've got a board here. That's a very wide cable. This cable here is almost certainly SCSI. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a SCSI board there. But we do have a soundboard in there that looks pretty well populated, so that's an early board there. I'm going to take the SCSI cable off. Just carefully wobble each end. Let's see what we can find out about the SCSI card. So what we can find out about the SCSI card is it's very dusty. So it's an Ultrastore Corp Ultra 14E. So it's got wide SCSI at the back there. So interesting. Let's just have a look at this sound card. We've got the little cable that takes sound from the CD-ROM drive. Also, it looks like it does support the CD-ROM drive directly, so it's maybe it's IDE, or it could be Panasonic actually. Quite often the interfaces on the end of the sound cards were for other proprietary interfaces. So Panasonic had their own interface. Mitsumi had one as well, I think. So this one is supporting the CD drive directly. That's still held in by that screw there. Let's have a look. Right, there you go. So there's the card. So it's a crystal chipset. So it's not a Sound Blaster or anything like that. Aztec. So this is an Aztec sound card. Yeah. And a couple of different versions of the CD interface at the end there. I don't know if that can be seen. So you've got a CD interface for something there. I can't really see. Oh, Mitsumi one there. And yeah, this is a Panasonic CR5 Exec. So that is what I thought. So this is a Panasonic drive, CD drive at the front there. Kind of looks like you can connect them to an IDE interface, but you can't. They are slightly different. Okay, so that's an Aztec sound card. Pretty cool. So let's just put these back in there. We've got an S3 graphics card. A whole bunch of RAM down the bottom there. All different random types. And yeah, another hard drive here, floppy drive, and that looks like a SCSI drive up the top there. Or maybe another, there's a SCSI drive there as well. So this is packed out with drives. Pretty impressive. That would have been a lot of money back in the day to have SCSI drives on your PC. I fear there will be a jump cut in the video here while I mess about getting these cards back in. Yes, there was. Right, so. Okay, bit yellow drive at the front there, that's a shame. But the Panasonic drive is looking nice. The case isn't too bad. Shame we haven't got the rest of the case for it. There you go. So we have another box over here of different parts for anybody that's vaguely interested. It looks like we have a spare power supply for a BBC Micro. That's what they look like internally, just in case you haven't seen them before. I mentioned in the first part of this that the capacitors inside can go. That's this capacitor here, and there's another one just under there, and this one over here is one that stops it working as well. But these have blown by the look of it. So either that's just blown and they're taking it out, or it has some other fault. Don't know. We will need to check that one. These are kind of intriguing. So we have here a three-way switch box. The BBC Micro has these weird domino plugs that go into the back of the BBC Micro, and it looks like you've got one input and three outputs. So you can connect your BBC to three other serial devices. Or maybe it was actually to three other BBC Micros. Somebody did produce ways of transferring data over the serial port into other computers. So if you didn't have things like Ethernet and all that kind of stuff, this was another way of doing it. I have no idea if that's what it's for, but anyway, it's a three-way serial? It's a 3-way serial switch for the BBC Micro using those domino plugs. Probably the most thing useful about this today is the domino plugs themselves. They're not quite that easy to get hold of. Big reel of IDC cable. That's kind of useful if you're looking to connect things to your beep. This is expensive stuff. And then we have a whole bag of pre-made cables and bits and pieces. I don't think we'll go through that. Plus there's dust everywhere now. Oh, I was going to sneeze. That's the battery pack from a BBC Master. So that's what that looks like. These are all dead. So you can just cut this off and make yourself a new battery pack using that part of the cable. So this box here is full of software. Look at that. So that's an unopened welcome pack for the BBC Micro. Now you might think that's kind of rare. It's far less rare than you think. We have quite a lot of them kicking around. What happened was, schools bought 10 computers for their suite. Rarely did they use the welcome packs. They just sat on a shelf unopened. You might have opened one to try it out and demonstrate the machine and stuff, but you didn't need to keep opening all of them. So sealed welcome packs is not that big a deal. However, if it's on eBay and you see it, let's say it's really rare and it's worth hundreds, that. Right, Gxr Graphics Extension Rom for the BBC Micro. We've got the manuals for this, so we'll be reunited that with its manuals. I don't think it's as nice as the one we have in our collection, so this will probably be on eBay. Intermediate level geography. Probably don't have that, I don't know, we'll find out. BBC version of QMap. So this is quite a lot of educational stuff by the looks of it. Geography maps, weather maps. So again, we'll be looking on the system. So what we have, if anybody wants to know behind the scenes, we have the database. You can see this database online. It's our website. If you go to BBC Micro, you can click on software and it shows you all the stuff we have. Same goes for every console, every computer. But on the back end of the system, we have extra fields that tells us what that package is made up of. So we would be saying that this has an outer cover, it has an inlay, so going on the front there, it has a floppy disk and it has a manual. So what we can do is we can take this one, we can compare it and we can say, right, everything is there compared with ours, or maybe this has something in it that ours doesn't and we can add that or whatever. And then we also have a condition field that tells us what sort of condition ours is in. So if there was a big rip across the front, we'd put that in there. So if we find a better copy, we can replace it with that and make our collection the best it can be. Osprey. Can you save the Ospreys? Disk version without a sleeve. That needs to be fixed. But yeah, more educational software. Slick. The microcomputer pack by BP Educational Service. So this is kind of interesting. So BP have produced some software for the BBC Micro with the teacher's pack here. Oil at sea. Sure, let's have a look to see what it says about this. Slick, a conservation game, is an interactive computer simulation developed for schools by BP Educational. Slick investigates the ever-present threat of oil pollution around our coast. It gives students the opportunity of dealing with an oil slick near an environmentally sensitive part of the coast. That's really cool. I mean, you don't get packages like this anymore. They're very much more generic. So something as specific as this is really quite interesting. It kind of shows you what people were thinking at that time and that companies wanted to get into education and teach on systems like the BBC Micro. So that's very cool. Worldwise, geography. the manual for geography programs. And the geography programs software. Identify Europe. File Plus. Plotmate A4S. So could this be? Plotmate was a different system though. Okay, sorry, I'm thinking out loud. So you saw we had the IBM plotter earlier. Plotmate was a plotter designed specifically for use with the BBC Micro. Well, and other machines, but it was popular with the BBC Micro. And these are the user guides for them and the installation guide. This is really good. Not it's any great shakes, but we have the Plotmate plotters. I don't think we have the manuals that go with them, so that could be really good. Weather station for the BBC Micro. No disc, but it has its tape there. Again, we'll do another compare with ours, what we have. Philips monitor manuals, Cub monitor manuals, done Part 3, Worldwise, BBC DFS filing system from Watford, and a guide to groceries at Asda. Cool, okay. Pretty much nothing to do with anything here, but kind of cool in the same way. So we have the guide to groceries at Asda. It shows you where everything is. Let's do it on this camera here. Let's move that lot. Yeah, it shows you where everything is within the store. Is there a date on this? No date. Yeah, complete layout of the store, guide to the different types of stuff. And this is for the Telford branch. Wow. Nothing to do with computing, but, you know, pretty interesting. EEPROM, so various copied discs there. Oh, this is interesting. It's only a flyer. Power supply unit. So this is a British Broadcasting Corporation branded power supply for, well, I don't know what for actually. For nothing, just a power supply. Let's put it on this camera. Yeah, so it looks like BBC produced a power supply just for general use, probably for doing experiments and things alongside your BBC Micro. It's got output voltages there, 5, 9 and 12. Yeah, it's got trip protection. Yeah, guarantee. These power supplies meet BS 415 and have satisfied the requirements of BBC engineering. I've never seen that before. Price £53.81. Yeah, I didn't know the BBC produced, well, it would have been produced by somebody else. Designed and manufactured in Great Britain by PMF Design and Developments Limited. So, I didn't know the BBC branded up a power supply in that way. If anybody has one, we'd love to add it to our collection. Not that it's particularly computing related, but this would have been probably used alongside the various interfaces you can get for the Beeb to power sort of external devices. Doesn't have the BBC sort of power supply output. The power supply on the BBC Micro had a 6-pin connector at the bottom you could drive the disk drives from and things like that. I would have expected this maybe to have had that. Maybe it's on the back. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is purely for sort of a lab thing. That's pretty interesting. If you've got one of those power supplies, let us know. Box of floppy disks, all copies by the looks of it, games and stuff. Exam results manual. That's the GraphPad software and the WordWise software. Well, not the software, but a disk that supports it. And this is weather program. Weather. I don't know whether or not that works. Oh, and a pen for the plotter result. Still sealed, might work, who knows. Okay, so let's put that lot in there. It's going to take a little bit of sorting. Like I say, all of this will go through the checks that we do, and if we've already got it and we've got a better version of it, this will end up on eBay. So we are kind of getting towards the end of all this. going to put this somewhere so it doesn't get squashed. Yeah, so we kind of get into the end of all this. We've got the PCs down here. We've got some more discs. But, you know, I've been going through the BBC Micros and the Masters to try and get those into a situation where they're saleable, that somebody can just pick them up and continue to use them. But when it comes to this other stuff now, there needs to be a lot more kind of boring checking through and testing them. The disk drives are proving a real problem. A lot of them don't work. But yeah, there's one more here. Ow, that was my knee. This is nice. It's not easy to show you though. So this is a bridge, disk drive bridge for a BBC Master. So you would connect the BBC Master to the floppy drive. Sorry, you would connect the floppy drive to the BBC Master and its power there. I was just talking about the power supply connection, which is that. And that would sit over, let me see if I can get a BBC to show you. So that would sit over the top of the BBC Master like that. So that was a nice setup, and then your monitor over there would go on top here. Decent, strong stand. Now this one's actually branded BBC Master, British Broadcasting Corporation Master Series microcomputer. So that was actually a branded version of it for the BBC Master specifically. It looks like somebody's kind of scratched in 1480 track for drives 1 and 2 and 3. Or 0, 1, 2 and 3. But yeah, so that's a bit of a shame. I believe we've already got one of these. I'll have to check, but it'd be interesting to see. So yeah, really nice. Makes a nice tidy installation of your BBC Master. So this BBC Master here has some issues with it. This is kind of interesting. So if we move that to there, this has BBC Engineering Operations in brackets Radio MSIS report, printed on the 30th of March 96. So this is a report on the condition of the BBC Master. Now it says here, goes bananas when powered up, sent redundant. Somebody spent an hour on it. Duff keyboard, S1 Monday, please give BBC Master and electronic to Robert to go redundant. So yeah, apparently this BBC goes bananas. We'll power it up and find out just how bananas it goes. Could be a video in itself on that one. I'm sure it's not as much fun as Herbie Goes Bananas. Anyway, oh, well, the lid comes off. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, this isn't going to work. This is horrible. That's a real shame. So this has a lot of rust at the back there, and there is water residue all over the board. I'm not saying it's not rescuable. Somebody could put the time into it to clean that board up, maybe, but not I. Yeah, that's a shame. A lot of damage there. Battery pack over here is replaceable, so that at least we can put new batteries in it. It's not one of the types that you have to remake a completely new one yourself. You can just put AA batteries in this. Yeah, that's a real shame. So, like I said, some of this stuff has been stored in the shed, and this is clearly one of them. Don't know if you can... And interestingly, you can't really tell. If this was on eBay and they're taking a picture of the back, you can't really tell from the outside because you've got this plastic overlay. But inside, that's a bit of a disaster. Yeah, I don't know what we'll do with that one. Maybe we'll stick it on eBay and take pictures of the inside, and it's somebody else's problem. But this is going to take quite a lot of effort to do. We haven't got the time for that. Perhaps somebody else does. You know, these things are usually pretty rescuable. I can't see that there's any major damage to tracks. There's no tracks off, at least that I can see. But it will take quite a lot of cleaning up. But it would explain why it's gone bananas. Although this was probably after that. Anyway, right. So there you go. That is part 2. I think probably the final part of our donation of computers, BBC Master computers, BBC Micros, Amiga we've had, Spectrum, a few different things like that, lots and lots of odds and ends. Keep an eye on our eBay page, and you know, hopefully there's something you'll find of interest. We're pretty honest with what we do. This will be listed and with pictures inside, showing that it's a bit of a disaster. But if it goes for 99p and somebody else buys it and does it up, I'll be over the moon. It's not necessarily about the money on these things. It's about keeping these things in circulation, keeping them going. And some people have got, you know, plenty more time to be looking at something like this than we have. So yeah, if this was on there, maybe you'd like to show it some TLC. So thanks very much for watching. Keep an eye on our YouTube page. There's lots of other videos that we are creating on particular machines and interviews with people and that sort of thing. So please do subscribe to our channel. If you can help us in any way, keep producing more of these. They take a lot of time to do. Please do support us via Patreon. You'll get some inside information there, links to our eBay stuff before anybody else does. So thank you very much if you have already done that, and if you haven't, please take a look. Yeah, and otherwise, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next thing that we'll do. If there's something specific you want to see, let us know. I'm not sure we can't promise anything, but if we can do it, we'd like to. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.